The night was silent, but David's heart pounded like thunder. His phone screen glowed with another rejection email, the fifth one that week. Sweat gathered on his palms as he scrolled down, hoping there was a different message this time, but the words hit him again. "We regret to inform you." His stomach tightened. He had invested all his little savings into building his small graphic design brand, yet no clients, no support, no progress. Outside, the generator noises echoed through the neighborhood, reminding him that bills were waiting. His mother knocked softly. "David, are you okay?" He forced a smile, but inside he felt like breaking. He wondered if consistency was even worth it. Days turned into sleepless nights as David poured his heart into sketches and designs, dreaming of success while feeling trapped. Every rejection felt like a heavy weight on his shoulders, pulling him further into doubt. The world outside carried on, but inside he battled his insecurities and fears, questioning whether he should continue or abandon his dreams altogether. Each time his phone buzzed, hope surged momentarily, only to be crushed again by the familiar sting of disappointment. With each passing day, the flicker of inspiration struggled to stay alive, fighting against the shadows of anxiety and uncertainty. David dragged himself to his small wooden table and opened his old laptop. The fan inside wheezed like it was fighting for its life. He stared at the blank screen of his design app. His hands trembled. "Why am I even trying?" he muttered. Every failed attempt replayed in his mind. Unanswered emails, ignored posts. No engagement, no hope. He felt the weight of quitting pressing on his chest. But then a tiny voice whispered inside him, "Just one more try." So he took a deep breath and created a new flyer design. His eyes were heavy, but he pressed on. He posted it online even though he expected no one to see it. Then he went to bed drained but determined. The morning light streamed through the window, illuminating David as he awoke to the sound of his phone buzzing with notifications. He rubbed his eyes, still groggy, but the buzzing grew louder, pulling him into the reality of the day. When he finally looked at his phone, a look of surprise crossed his face. His flyer had taken off, connecting with people in ways he never imagined. Likes and comments piled up, each notification a reminder that perhaps his efforts were not in vain after all. Joy surged within him, edging out doubt as he realized that sometimes just one more try can lead to unexpected outcomes. The next morning, sunlight slipped through his curtain and woke him. David rubbed his eyes and reached for his phone lazily. He opened his page and froze. His latest post had 7 likes. 7. To some people, that was nothing, but to him, it was fire fuel hope. Someone had even commented, "Nice work, bro." His heart warmed. For the first time in weeks, he felt seen. He grabbed his laptop again, excitement replacing last night's frustration. He thought, if I can get 7 likes today, maybe I can get 10 tomorrow. That spark pushed him to create another design, pouring his fear and determination into every line and color. His fingers danced over the keyboard, each keystroke echoing his enthusiasm as colors splashed across the digital canvas. With every stroke, doubt transformed into creativity, and he was lost in the world he was building. The room filled with the sound of his rapid heartbeats and the soft clicking of keys, as if the universe conspired to fuel his ambition. He thought about all the other creators out there, the ones whose work inspired him, and in that moment he felt connected to them, united by passion. Days passed and David posted consistently. Morning or night, tired or stressed, he created. Most days were silent, but he kept going. Consistency is the key, he repeated to himself like a prayer. One afternoon, while editing a logo, his phone buzzed. A message popped up. "Hello, I saw your designs. Can you create a brand identity for my business?" David's eyes widened. His first real client. The pay wasn't much, but it felt like treasure. He worked all night delivering his best. When the client replied, "This is perfect," something inside David awakened. Consistency was finally bearing fruit. With renewed energy, David began to dream bigger. He envisioned his designs not just as work, but as a way to connect with the world. Each project became a personal challenge, a chance to push his limits. He started reaching out to local businesses, sharing his portfolio, and attending networking events. The community soon noticed his enthusiasm, and word spread about the passionate designer who never stopped creating. As opportunities emerged, David's confidence grew. Each interaction became a stepping stone, leading him closer to building his brand. He learned to embrace constructive criticism, using it to refine his craft. With every new client, he poured his heart into the projects, crafting identities that resonated deeply. Slowly but surely, his passion transformed into a thriving business, one design at a time. With renewed determination, David poured his creativity into the small screen, each stroke of his finger igniting his passion. The world around him faded as he transformed his despair into inspiration, crafting new ideas that flowed freely. It was in this moment he realized that setbacks were merely stepping stones, not obstacles. With every design, he built a bridge back to his dreams, refusing to let anything deter his vision. But just when things were improving, life struck again. His laptop suddenly shut down and refused to come back on. David panicked. He pressed the power button repeatedly. Nothing. His heart raced. This laptop was his entire business. Repairers told him the motherboard was gone. He felt the walls closing in. All his progress gone. As he sat outside staring at the sky, tears gathered in his eyes. "God, why now?" he whispered. But then he remembered something. Consistency is not about perfect tools, it's about a committed heart. He picked up his phone and continued designing with a cracked screen. As the sun's rays peeked through the clouds, David felt a flicker of hope reignite within him. Each sketch on his notepad symbolized a fresh start, a promise that he could rise above adversity. In that moment, surrounded by nature and the beauty of the day, he realized that the journey was just as important as the destination. With every renewed idea, he cemented his conviction that a committed heart could conquer any challenge. David's designs weren't as smooth on the phone, and many attempts failed. But he kept posting. One evening, he heard a knock on the door. It was the first client he had ever worked with. "Bro, I saw you still posting, even with your laptop issue," he said. "That kind of consistency is rare." He handed David a small box. Inside was a fairly used laptop. David gasped, covering his mouth. "I can't accept this. You must," the man insisted. "Your consistency inspired me." David felt hope flooding his chest again. This time, he designed with purpose. With the new laptop in front of him, David felt a rush of creativity. He began working on projects he had only dreamed about, each click of the keyboard fueling his ambition. As days turned into weeks, he poured his heart into his designs, transforming challenges into opportunities. Word started to spread about David's unique style, and soon more clients began reaching out. The knock that once felt like an ending now marked the beginning of a thrilling journey. As the sun set over the horizon, David found himself sketching ideas in the park, drawing inspiration from the world around him. Those sketches soon transformed into digital designs that captivated not just local folks but a wider audience. At a small community event, people gathered around to admire his work, their curiosity sparking lively conversations. Each compliment and question fueled his passion, further igniting a fire within him to push boundaries and explore new horizons in design. With the new laptop, David's speed increased. His posts improved and people began recognizing his style. A week later, a small company reached out. They needed designs for a campaign. David delivered in 2 days and they were impressed. "Your work is clean and unique," they said. Payment arrived instantly. It wasn't millions, but it was steady. David smiled to himself. The boy who once wanted to give up was now seeing doors open. The key wasn't magic, it wasn't luck, it was consistency, showing up even when everything inside wanted to quit. In the weeks that followed, David found himself brimming with new ideas. He began exploring different styles and techniques, pushing his creative boundaries. Each day, he would dedicate hours to refining his craft, driven by the success he'd tasted. Friends noticed the change in him, commenting on his newfound confidence and passion. His social media following grew steadily, each like and comment motivating him to create even more. Every project became not just a job, but an opportunity to express who he truly was. One evening, after months of hard work, David received an invitation to showcase his designs at a local gallery. Standing in front of the large art display, he felt a rush of pride as people admired his creations, engaging in animated discussions about his unique style. This recognition was different. It validated all the late nights and early mornings spent working on his passion. Each compliment felt like fuel, igniting a fire within him to keep creating. David realized he had transformed not just as a designer, but as a person, embracing challenges rather than shying away from them. But success brought new battles. Some friends mocked him, saying design wasn't a real job. Others said he was wasting his time. Their words stung like needles, but David refused to stop. Each insult became fuel. He remembered the pain of starting the nights of crying the rejections. He wasn't going back. He worked on his skills, studied tutorials, improved his craft. Slowly, his designs became cleaner, sharper, more professional. People started sharing his work. His following increased. David realized that consistency doesn't silence critics immediately, but eventually results do. As David stepped into the gallery, he was greeted by a buzz of excitement, each conversation filled with praise for his unique style. The doubts that once plagued him began to fade, replaced by the joy of recognition. Friends who once scoffed now looked on with envy and respect. Every compliment was a reminder of his journey, a testament to his resilience. David understood that every battle, every tear had led him to this moment of triumph. Months later, David found himself on stage at a design conference, sharing his journey with hundreds of aspiring artists. The room was filled with eager faces, each person hanging on his every word. As he spoke about overcoming adversity, he could see the spark of determination in their eyes. They were not just listening, they were inspired. David knew this was what he had set out to achieve. Not just success for himself, but to light the path for others who face the same struggles. One morning, David woke to see that a big influencer had reshared his post. His notifications exploded. Comments poured in. People began asking for prices, collaborations, and mentorship. David almost dropped his phone. This was the breakthrough he had prayed for. His hands shook as he replied to every message. But deep down, he smiled. His journey proved a powerful truth. Consistency is slow, at first painfully slow, but once momentum arrives, it multiplies everything. He felt grateful that he had not quit on those dark days. As the days went by, David immersed himself in this newfound opportunity, juggling messages and collaboration offers with fervor. Each conversation sparked fresh ideas, and he felt a wave of motivation that he hadn't experienced in years. The once daunting task of reaching out now felt exhilarating, as if he was riding the crest of a wave ready to take him to new heights. With enthusiasm bubbling inside him, David met with a close friend to brainstorm and strategize over coffee. Their laughter echoed in the cafe as they shared ideas, feeling the electricity of collaboration under the warm lights. Each new follower on his social media page reinforced his belief that he was on the right path, transforming his passion into a thriving venture. Weeks later, David received an email from a tech startup. They wanted him as a part-time designer for a 6-month deal. The pay was more than anything he had ever imagined. He read the email over and over, tears streaming down his face. He ran to his mother's room. "Mama, we made it." She hugged him tightly, whispering, "I told you your consistency would speak." David felt a deep warmth in his chest. He realized that consistency wasn't just about working, it was about believing in yourself, your gift, your journey. In the days that followed, David immersed himself in his new role, creating stunning visuals that captured his creative spirit. Each design he crafted felt like a step closer to fulfilling his dreams, and every late night was a testament to his relentless perseverance. His mother watched him transform with pride in her heart, knowing this was only the beginning of what was possible. As weeks turned into months, David's designs started gaining recognition among his peers and clients. He felt a sense of belonging in this new world where creativity melded seamlessly with technology. His confidence soared, knowing that his hard work was not just bringing him success, but also inspiring others to chase their dreams. His room changed, his life changed, but David's mindset remained steady. He still woke early, still practiced daily, still posted consistently. People called him lucky, but he knew it wasn't luck. It was every night he worked through frustration. Every morning he created despite tiredness. Every post he shared, even when nobody cared. Consistency had rewritten his destiny. It had taken him from being unseen to being valued, from being ignored to being in demand, from crying in silence to smiling in success. As he shared his story, David felt the energy of the audience radiating back to him, reminding him that every struggle was worth it. Each late night and early morning had brought him here in front of those who finally recognized his hard work. The transformation was complete. He was no longer the quiet figure in the shadows, but a beacon of inspiration for others just starting their journeys. With each conversation, David realized that success was not just personal, it was about uplifting others too. He found joy in mentoring those who felt lost, guiding them through the paths he once walked alone. David's journey had blossomed into a community, reminding him that together they could all achieve greatness. Months later, David was invited to speak at a youth seminar. He stood on stage, seeing hundreds of young people watching him. His voice trembled, not from fear but gratitude. "Consistency saved my life," he told them. "I wasn't the smartest, I wasn't the most talented, I just refused to stop." The audience clapped. David smiled. He remembered the failing laptop, the silent posts, the mockery, the struggle. But today he stood victorious, not because life became easy, but because he remained consistent when life was hard. As the applause faded, David looked out at the sea of hopeful faces, knowing he was now a beacon of hope for them. He could see sparks of determination igniting in their eyes, reflecting back the struggles they shared. This moment was not just about him, it symbolized the power of perseverance and belief in oneself. As he stepped down from the stage, David was met with enthusiastic young people eager to share their own experiences. With each handshake and smile exchanged, he felt the impact of his words resonating deeply. The young girl scribbling in her notebook embodied the spirit of change, proving that David's message had ignited a fire within them all. Later, David found himself at a round table sharing ideas and listening to the dreams of the young individuals around him. Each story was unique, yet they were all bound by common threads of aspiration and resilience. In the aftermath of the seminar, the atmosphere buzzed with excitement as everyone mingled, exchanged contact information, and built connections that could lead to future collaborations. After the event, young people surrounded him, asking questions, seeking advice. David encouraged each one. When he got home, he sat on his bed quietly. He realized the journey was bigger than him. His consistency was now inspiring others to chase their dreams. He felt humbled. He opened his laptop and created another design, not for money, not for fame, but because he loved the process. Consistency had become a part of him. It was no longer a struggle, it was his identity. As he poured his heart into the new project, David felt a wave of satisfaction wash over him. Each stroke of his pencil was not just about creating, it was a reflection of his journey and growth. The room was filled with a sense of purpose as he realized that his love for design had become a beacon for those around him. He envisioned young dreamers inspired by his story, ready to chase their aspirations with newfound determination. Over time, David began to mentor these young aspirants, sharing his experiences and insights. His once solitary journey transformed into a collective movement where creativity thrived among peers. Walking through the park, he felt a sense of community growing around him, each person motivated to pursue their dreams, fueled by the passion he had ignited. It dawned on him that success was no longer just about personal achievements, but about lifting others along the way. But even with success, life tested him again when a new competitor started copying his work. At first, it frustrated him deeply. He wanted to confront the person, but then he remembered his journey. Consistency is not competition, he told himself, it's commitment. So he focused on improving instead of fighting. He upgraded his style, learned new techniques, and refined his brand. Within weeks, his work stood out so clearly that no imitation could match it. Consistency protected him again. With renewed determination, he sought new avenues for growth, reaching out to potential clients who admired originality. The feedback was overwhelmingly positive, and soon he found himself in high demand. Each day became an opportunity to push boundaries, blending creativity with skill and solidifying his place in the industry. His journey reminded him that staying true to oneself could turn challenges into triumphs. As accolades began to pour in, he realized that persistence had more power than competition. His team rallied around him, sharing in the excitement of their achievements. They embraced each other's strengths, knowing that together they could reach new heights. The challenges he faced now felt like stepping stones, guiding him toward a brighter future filled with endless possibilities. One evening, as David sat outside watching the sunset, he reflected on everything. The boy who once received zero engagement now had clients across the country. The young man who almost gave up was now providing for his family. His journey was not perfect, but it was proof that consistency didn't require perfection, only persistence. He closed his eyes and whispered, "Thank you for not quitting." That moment felt like a full circle blessing, a story of transformation powered by discipline and daily effort. In that tranquil moment, he felt the weight of his struggles lifting, replaced by an overwhelming sense of accomplishment and hope. Each setback had been a stepping stone, shaping him into the man he had become. With every sunrise, he had committed to pushing forward, driven by dreams that once seemed distant. As the last rays of sunlight flickered away, David made a silent promise to chase new horizons, knowing that every ending birthed a new beginning. With renewed determination, David began to write down his next set of goals, each word capturing his vision for the future. The notebook was more than just paper. It was the mapping of his dreams, filled with moments of inspiration and resolve. As he penned each phrase, he envisioned the lives he could touch and the paths he could create. In that serene evening light, he recognized that every step forward was not just for himself, but for those who believed in him, fueling his passion and commitment to never stop striving. David looked at his laptop, then at his old cracked phone, the device he once used to design when everything failed. He placed his hand on it gently. It reminded him of the struggle, the tears, the silence, and the rise that consistency brought. With a deep breath, he whispered, "No matter where I go in life, I will always keep showing up." And that was the final lesson. Consistency is a slow storm, but when it arrives, it changes everything. With each passing day, David stepped further into his journey, embracing the lessons learned from the past. He realized that every setback had molded him, preparing him for the challenges ahead. As he gazed at the horizon, a sense of peace washed over him, knowing that with perseverance, he could shape his own future. No matter how daunting the path may seem, David understood that consistency would guide him through the storms yet to come. In a bustling coffee shop, David immersed himself in his work, the atmosphere a blend of creativity and determination. He was surrounded by others pursuing their dreams, each person on their own journey. As he typed away on his laptop, the culmination of his efforts began to take shape, a design that spoke to his soul. Every keystroke echoed the mantra of consistency, proving that all the late nights and early mornings were leading him somewhere remarkable. If you're watching this, don't give up. Be consistent. Keep showing up. Keep improving. Your breakthrough is waiting. Just don't stop before it comes. What are you working on today? Every effort you put in brings you closer to your dreams. Remember, success doesn't happen overnight. It's built through daily dedication and resilience. Embrace each challenge as a stepping stone towards your ultimate goal. With each sunrise comes new opportunities to grow and evolve. Collaboration can spark innovation and fuel your journey. Share your vision, learn from others, and together you can achieve remarkable things. The path may be challenging, but every step you take is a step closer to your triumph. Celebrate your progress and keep your eyes on the prize. When you finally reach your destination, it's the culmination of every struggle that makes the victory so sweet. Keep pushing forward and visualize your success. In moments of doubt, remember that your inner light can guide you through any darkness. Take a moment to reconnect with your purpose and reignite your passion. Every stroke of your brush adds depth to your story. Embrace your creativity and let it flow, for each creation is a reflection of your journey. Cherish the connections you make along the way. Surrounding yourself with supportive people can motivate you to keep going and remind you of the joy in the journey.